Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to your first day of social school. I'm so excited. My name is Brooklyn Calloway, and
I'm Angelyn Harrell.
yes, and today we're going to be teaching you about content buckets and mind maps. So let me start sharing my screen, and Angelyn and I are just going to jump right into it. Content buckets and mind maps are just a way for you to have unlimited ideas for what to post. Writer's block, specifically caption writing writer's block, stems from two places. Typically, it's because people don't know what to say and they don't know how to say it. In this particular class, we are going to attack not knowing what to say. And for the rest of social school, we are going to teach you how to say it. So, this is a foundational class for all of social media marketing. Across any platform, and especially for these classes moving forward. So, content buckets and mind maps. Basically, Angelyn likes to say, never run out of things to say, unlimited ideas for what to post. This right here is kind of our formula. Both Angelyn and I have taken a lot of classes over the years, thrown a lot of spaghetti on the wall. We've both marketed our own other businesses successfully. And this is kind of our formula for unlimited post ideas that are all three of the following things. They're on brand for you, they're engaging to your audience, and unique to you and whoever and whatever your work is. There are 4 reasons people make purchases. So the reasons people buy, and we'll start with the right and go to the left, which is kind of, backwards, but some people buy out of convenience. That kind of looks like my, 22-year-old. He comes home from college and I'm like, hey, Jaden, we're out of milk. Can you run to the store? So he literally runs to the store on 7th Street and grabs a $9 half gallon of milk, comes home, slaps it on the counter, and says, here you go, Mom. I'm like, dude, that's a $9 half gallon. It's going to give me a heart attack. But the convenience factor is not making him leave a Yelp review. It's not, causing him to go home to college and say, hey, guys, I got to tell you about this gas station. Price is another reason people buy. And this might sound familiar to you, but when I go on vacation with my parents every year, my mom and I like to get the eyelashes installed. So we go on Groupon and we get an eyelash Groupon. And we go to somebody, a little too far away to save $1. And we get our eyelashes. And by the time we come home from vacation, we have no eyelashes left. But we got this, great price. Again, we're not leaving a Yelp review, which is probably rude, and I'm sorry, but we're not reviewing about it. We didn't build a relationship, none of that. But the price drove us to buy. Innovation is the next gadget that you see on Instagram, and then you see a gadget on Facebook, and then all of a sudden, oh my gosh, I got to have that new eyelash, magnetic thing or whatever the innovation is. It causes you to buy the newest latest thing, but it doesn't build brand loyalty. It doesn't cause you to go back for more. It's just you're looking at something that is new and different and eye-catching. So again, it does initially make people buy, but it doesn't keep them there. Now, relationships, that's where the money is, meaning that's where the biggest return on your investment of time will be. If you can form relationships with your audience online, just like you form relationships in your business and your face-to-face interactions, your world will open up big time. So part of those buying reasons kind of lend themselves nicely to the friends to followers formula. And I'm telling you all of these things because what we're about to teach you, oh, that's why I need all that content. So the friends to followers formula is by a guy named Daniel Priestley in a book called Oversubscribed. I highly recommend it. But basically, the book boils down to 7, 4, 11. So I've just saved you about 2.5 days of reading. But 7, 4, 11, that means 7 hours, 4 locations, and 11 different interactions. When you spend 7 hours with someone in 4 different locations and you have 11 different interactions, they're no longer an acquaintance. They are your friend. And you want people to be your friend because they'll pick up anything that you're laying down. The way that I explain this, like in real life, is I'm a baseball mom. I have two boys, one in college, one who's 10, and I'm starting all over. When you join a new baseball team as a baseball mom, you're sitting there and you're like, judging and looking, and they have the little, tennis skirts and stuff, and you don't, whatever. And you're definitely not friends. But by the time that first tournament is over, you have 100% spent 7 hours with those ladies. You've had 4 different locations. You're in the snack line, the restroom, the parking lot. You're at new fields, all those places. You're probably at the Chicken Express getting lunch halfway through the tournament schedule. So 4 different places, and you've most certainly had 11 different interactions. And so with that being said, you've moved from an acquaintance to a friend in one weekend. You need to be able to do that with the people online. Takes a little bit longer for them to consume 7 hours of content, but the 4 different locations could be stories, reels, email, e-courses, face-to-face networking, um, you know, highlights, even a Facebook post. So 4 different locations online could be 4 different platforms or parts of the platform. And the 11 different interactions could be 11 different posts. So this isn't as hard as it seems, or insurmountable, but that is the formula on moving a follower to a friend. All right, Angeline is going to now tell you about how to come up with that unlimited content to fill that 7 hours of time.
Okay, let's dive in. All right, so content buckets, one of my favorite subjects, because this is the gold here, and you're going to refer back to these buckets of content over and over and over throughout your social media journey. So first of all, let me sort of categorize that there are 2 brands that we're talking about here. The first one is a personal brand. And this is someone who is most likely a solopreneur, someone who, let me just give you some examples. I think that makes it more clear. Maybe you are in direct sales or network marketing, or you're a hairstylist or a real estate agent, or you are a pet sitter, something like that, where maybe you represent a company or you work under a brokerage or something, but you are the brand and you plan on sharing your social. You're not necessarily splitting your social and your business. Okay. This is going to be called a personal brand. And when you have a personal brand, you're basically going to think about 3 main buckets. This is like top tier. Okay. This is the big overarching thing. You're going to have your work. That's what you do. If you're a hairstylist, you're going to be talking about what you specialize in, who you serve. Your personal is about you. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's your dog or your cat. And I'm a dog person. She's a cat person. So we always have to include both. And then also there's the passion bucket. And this one it's kind of multi-purpose, but it's fun. Think about like a hobby or a passion or something you're a minor expert in. All of us have something in our life that we really love that doesn't fall under either our personal or family or our work. And let me give you some examples. Let's say you are a real estate agent who has adult children and you love riding motorcycles on the weekend. So that motorcycle bucket is kind of like your Harley passion. That's what you like to go do with your husband or whatever. And that's kind of your thing. Or maybe you love baking cupcakes. Or like for me, I love Disney World. I love everything about Disney. I am most definitely a minor expert in all things Disney. I've been 100 times. I used to work there. I've been a travel agent specialized in Disney. I always said that was kind of my hobby, passion, expertise, because it is something that I can share about on social media. The whole point of having that passion bucket is to give you another point of contact with people in social media world that allows you to connect. So let's say if I was a real estate agent who loved Disney and had a family, um, maybe I was sharing something about a new trip or something I'm excited about on my next trip, or um, something about, the new fast pass system the fast pass system that doesn't exist in what's your place, and I'm sharing what I like and don't like. Somebody may find me for that content, and then as we become friends and make that connection, they're like, oh, and she's also a real estate agent. Well, I want to connect with that woman who loves Disney, but so maybe it helps you connect with people on a different level. Okay. So that is the reason behind the passion bucket. So your work, your personal, what's important to you. For most people, I think that's going to fall kind of in the family. And then something, passion that feels kind of unrelated.
Okay.
Okay. And then a business brand. So this is an example of, let's say you are a small business owner. Let's say you have a plumbing company or a roofing company, or I don't know, maybe you have a pet sitting that's actually branded separate from you. Like Brooklyn and I have Next Chapter Social. That is our social media company. That is our business brand. We both still have personal brands, but this is our business brand. And if you have a business brand, either one's okay. We're going to talk about how you can use this same concept for either type of business, okay? But in a business brand, it's going to look a little bit different, all right? So we're going to talk about 3 buckets called your work, the people in your team, and giving value to your audience. Those are your 3. And what does that really mean? Okay, so in the work bucket, this is informational for people. This is how they can work with you, what you do, client testimonials, customer reviews. Maybe it's a good before and after example. Maybe it's different things like that show your work and make your offer. Okay. Your people are the people on your team. Maybe it's you. Maybe you're the only one. It could be. But if it's not, like in our example, it's Brooklyn and myself. And all the things that go under that, and we'll explode that out in a little bit. And then in the value, this is really important. In a business brand, you want to build probably 50% of your content in this value bucket. And what does that mean? That means that you are going to establish credibility by giving people lots of valuable content, things that they need to know, educating them on a subject that has to do around your business. Okay. We're going to get into that a little bit in just a little bit so that you can understand exactly what we mean.
Yeah, that's perfect. So, basically what she just said about you have a personal brand and a business brand. We are asking you either way to get personal on your business page. Your business page, meaning your Facebook page, your Instagram account, your LinkedIn, whatever. We want you to show what I call your like Superman S on your chest, because what makes you super and special is the person behind the brand, or the personal brand, or the people behind the business brand. So people feel like that's counterintuitive sometimes, and they give me some pushback. I know they've given you some pushback on getting personal on your business page, but it's absolutely what sets you apart from other people. And with that being said, I can't tell you how many times both of her and I have coached people, and we go take a look at what they're working with on their Facebook page, and it's like, you know, a one hit wonder of, let's say it's a photography business and it's the photographer. I don't know at all any of the pictures if they're the photographer or not. It just looks like family photos, maybe a few weddings in there, some newborns, but I know nothing about the person behind the camera. So as a layman looking at this photography, yeah, that picture looks good, but I'm like, this photographer's pictures look good too. How do I choose one? Well, it's going to be the one that I find a connection with. And if you don't have a connection, then you're not going to win the business, because there's a lot of photographers out there and there's only one of you. So you got to reveal your personal stuff on your business page. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but remember, relationships are where it's at. And that's what will keep your clients coming back again and again.
And I think too on that, if you are a personal brand, there's going to be more room. You're going to want to share more of your personal, because again, it's more of a well-rounded you, your business, your personal, and your hobby, right? Okay, so that's like a 30-30-30 kind of a thing. At 33. But if you are a business brand, you're not necessarily going to be having to show pictures of your kids in your roofing business. That's not the same thing. That's not exactly what we're saying. But what you want to show, make sure that you show in your roofing business is that you are a human company. So we'll get into that a little bit, but I do want to just kind of, expand on that just a little bit more. We're not saying that you have to show your dog on your roofing business. That's actually inconsistent, and you don't want to do that. That's not
Right.
exactly what we're saying. Yeah.
Right. I completely agree with her. The personal on your business brand is just the people behind the brand,
Exactly.
highlighting them, they're hardworking, a picture on a ladder, those kinds of things.
You always say the most human company wins, right?
Yeah. Yes, the most human company wins. And sometimes I'm too human and I forget to talk about my business.
Exactly. That's why we got to balance.
Yeah, Angelin and I balance each other well. Okay, so the secret to success with creating content is learning how to share more of yourself and your people, if you're a business brand, and your life with your audience to speed up that relationship building process. Remember my examples of the photographers? I have several, in coaching, and they have all just pictures of their work, but no pictures of them explaining who they are. So the team behind the brand, or you, whoever the humans are behind the brand, they need to be brought to the forefront so that you can build that connection with your audience and speed up the relationship building process online. So I am going to let Angelin explain this screen to you, and then I'll do the next.
Okay. So, okay, you see a lot of circles on the screen. Well, this is kind of the formula that we love. We're both kind of creative thinkers. So we love this like free flow idea. Maybe you prefer a list. That's okay. We're going to show you this concept. You can definitely translate it however you like. But we're going to now kind of blow out these maps we're going to start with the personal brand. So your personal map, your work map, and your passion map. So personal. Why do we have a personal map? We're going to, build that connection, your know, like, and trust factor, your relationship and brand loyalty. And then we're going to do another set of bubble circles for your work map. And the work is going to be establishing your authority, kind of creating value, because we don't have a give value in a personal brand necessarily. So you're going to do that under that work map, your influence and your expertise, and then your passion. So this is again that kind of random thing about you that you really love. Maybe you're a Cowboys fan and you have a whole thing about the Dallas Cowboys. Like that's really your thing. You're going to connect with people who love the Dallas Cowboys too. And maybe they're going to want to hire you as their plumber because they're like, he loves the Cowboys. You know what I mean? So that's making that connection with them. Okay.
Yeah.
If you were going to do the same thing with a business brand, again, business brand is more of like that work map, that team people map, and that value. So again, this is where I really love to talk about is in a business brand, your value map, what people are going to keep coming back for needs to be about 50% of your content. Because people don't want to just see a commercial for, a car repair shop all the time. Like that's really not interesting. But if you are a car repair shop that is constantly giving tips on maintaining your car's health, I'm so not a car person, so please disregard my lack of
It's funny that you're using it as an example.
I know. Like, what the heck? It kind of randomly came out of nowhere.
Car
shop. But if you are someone who is offering, like I would actually really love that if you were speaking to me in language, because I know nothing about cars and I do know to get my oil change. But if you're telling me all the things I should be doing at 50,000 miles, I'm like, oh, good. I need to know that. So if you're sharing that kind of value, or maybe showing a before after, or what to ask about when I take my car to the shop, if you're going to give me that kind of information, I'm going to follow you because you're speaking my language and I feel like I can learn something from you that is valuable for my life. Okay. That needs to be about 50% of your content. However, if you are constantly talking about value, and I see this a lot because people think they just want to give because that's how they build an audience. But if you're never telling people why you're special, why they should bring their car to you, or what you do, or an offer that you have, if you have a coupon for an oil change just this weekend only, if you're never sharing that, you're not going to close the deal. It's like not asking somebody to actually do business with you.
I have something to say about that. I call that going in for the kill. And I know that's a little bit, National Geographic, but that's what I do. I am very guilty of this. I constantly want to give value or talk about something that's cute or whatever, because that's what's fun for me. But people often will say, but what is it that you actually do? And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to say something. So you
In
do
your personal brand, you mean, not in,
in
yes,
my
right.
in personal brand, I forget to actually say, "Buy my crap," right? I
Right.
forget to actually make the offer because I'm too busy, like, sharing stories about, Yellowstone or whatever it is. So you have to actually give people the opportunity to support you because you spend all this time making friends with them or giving them value and building that relationship. Now it's rude not to give them a way to support
Yes.
you because
Right.
you've been given to them. They're going to want to naturally give back to you. And if you have something on your feed that's like, here's how you bring your car to me, then when they see that, after all this value you've been giving, they can share that with their friends and say, hey, this is the one I was telling you about. They seem super cool. You should take your car there.
Exactly. And I do think that, and I say this all the time, is that your social media presence is as important as your website. Because if I'm standing there with a group of friends and one of my friends says, I really need a new dentist. Well, I don't remember the website of my dentist, but I do know that she has a great Instagram presence because I follow her. So I'm immediately going to go to Instagram and share her Instagram page with my friend.
Mm-hmm.
100%. You want to make sure that you are giving your followers, your fans,
Your
your
friend.
friends, you want to give them referable content. You want to make it easy for them to refer you. And that is how you're going to do this. You're going to give them value. You're going to share your human side of your company, and you're going to tell them how they can work with you. And in this order, it's like 25%, and the value is 50. Okay.
Right. Yes, yes. Okay. So, how to mind map. This is not rocket science, but I felt like we needed to put this slide in there. First of all, you're going to choose your topic, personal, work, your passion, etc. Then, in order to build that out, so you start with your center bucket. In order to build that out, you're going to ask yourself over and over and over again, okay, who's the who, what, why, where, how of this bubble? Not every bubble is going to answer all those questions, but if you ask yourself those questions, it becomes easier to think about what's next or a different layer to that content. And then number three is you're going to go out at least 3 levels deep. When you go out 3 levels deep, that's what this looks like. Level one is basically this one, it's the overarching categories. So you'll have your main topic, personal, passion, work, value, whatever's in the center. And then you're going to ask yourself the who, what, where, when, how, why, all those little questions. Then from there, you're going to ask yourself those questions again and go out to this level two. So this is level two right here. Then one more bubble outside of that is three. So you're going 3 levels out from that main center, big overarching topic, because let's see if I have it in here. You want to go an inch wide and a mile deep with your topics. You want to niche down. Do you have anything you want to say about the inch wide, mile deep topics?
Sure. Sure. So let me go back to my plumber example. Okay, so let's say one of my plumber in his giving value bucket, one of the things that he wanted to talk about was winterizing your home. So getting ready as we get into the winter, he wants to talk about winterizing your home, things you can do, prevention. So we started with, okay, that was like a level 2, winterizing your home. And then now we're going to go out level 3. We're going to talk about all the different things that need to happen with winterizing your home. So we wrote out the message, and basically it was like a step 1, 2, 3, 4, but it was kind of a reasoning behind and what you can do to prevent. And then it was like a step. Okay. So we had like a message. All right. And now we're going to take that message and those steps, and we created about 5 different posts from that one message. So we're going out value, winterizing your home, kind of in that, well, it was like value, prevention tips, winterizing your home. And now we're going to talk about the content in that. And in that winterizing your home idea, we did a carousel post of steps, of images where like we're showing it, and then we wrote it out in the caption. We did a post where we did a reel where he walked through and kind of showed some tips, and we did a little speed up and all the things. And then we did like little shorts, video, and then we did a quiz in stories. So we made several different posts out of this one concept.
Got it. So basically, you went from value to prevention tips to winterizing your home, and then all the steps that go with winterizing: the who, what, where, how, why.
Yeah.
You asked those questions, and you definitely had a how, a what, and a why bucket.
Yes. And it created like a week's worth of content.
Yeah, just from that tiny little inch wide, mile deep. When you niche down, you're able to really, identify hashtags and keywords, and you're speaking to an audience that of people that really need that content, because if they're searching for that, they're going to find you. So I love
you're
it.
also saying the same thing in several different ways, which helps them kind of absorb the message better, because they may not see all of it. So if you just make one post about winterizing your home, only about 10% are actually going to see that.
Or
but
like
if you make
2%.
I mean, I was being generous. But if you make 5 posts about it, the chances of you actually reaching your audience with that message. And if somebody's lucky enough to see them all, they're going to get the message.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And nobody is going to, as my friend Erica Bryant says, nope out of your content if you repeat yourself, but repeat yourself in different ways, in different consumable posts. Again, 7 hours, 4 locations, 11 different interactions. That didn't say all saying different things, right? You're perfectly okay repeating yourself. Matter of fact, I also think it's rude if you don't repeat yourself, because people have the attention spans of fruit flies. And I'm not always I'm very rarely on Facebook. But when I pick up the phone and see Facebook, if you pop up, then I'm going to see your stuff. So you have to be there when people are on the feed. And the more content you have and the more times you say it, the better. So, like I've said before, when you are building your mind map, whether that's for your personal brand or your business brand, you're going to want to ask yourself the who, what, why, and how on each bubble. That is just an idea generating tip. That's what I do for myself in order to keep going. Who do I do that for? Who's involved? Why do I do it? Where do I do it? And it helps me build those bubbles for both myself and clients. So this, I'm going to show you a little example of a very in the beginning mind map for a personal brand. This one specifically is for me. This is my work map. So I'm a social media marketing coach, right? I asked myself the who, what, why, where. The why I'm a social media marketing coach is because I love teaching. Um, excuse me. Where do I do it? Online and in person. Who do I help? Overwhelmed small business owners. And what do I teach? Simple tricks, tips, techniques for marketing online. So I'm going to let Angelina explain the next one.
Oh, well, this one's all about you, though. Okay, so if this was Brooklyn, let's talk about her in the middle. So this is her personal one. This is, again, under her personal brand. Well, one of the interesting things about her, she lives in an old house in the rail district, which everyone loves to talk about. So that's definitely, a topic for her. She loves old history, old things and history for sure. So that's something, again, we can have lots of legs out of that one as well. She loves traveling and treasure hunting. I know this very well. And she's a wife, mom, and ex school teacher. So, again, these all feel very generic. And even as I'm reading these things, as well as I know her, I can think of about 15, third layers from this. But let's take one and use it as an example. Or let's go to your hobby one, and then we'll come back and explode it a little bit more.
Yes, absolutely. I'm sorry. I had a coughing fit. I'm like, and Angelina's going to talk.
Pitch it to me. I got it.
I'm going to save y'all from my coughing fit.
It's good that I know you so well. I can talk about it. Okay.
We did not plan that, guys. All right. So this is real authentic teaching for you. My passion map is I love treasure hunting. So I ask myself the questions. What do I collect? What do I treasure hunt for? I treasure hunt for the things that I collect. Again, that's kind of generic, and I would go out deeper. Where do I go? I go on flea market adventures that are so fun, and I love doing it. Why? Because I love rescuing things. I feel I'm always like, oh, he needs to go home with me. And I'm not talking about the cute cop at the front door because I'm happily married. I am talking about the little rusty, whatever it is. And then when I always go on Fridays because that is my I deserve it day. So if I get my nails done or whatever, I have Fridays or my I deserve it day. So you can see how you know, I was able to think of those things by asking myself those questions. And oftentimes I find that people have a really hard time talking about themselves or writing bios about themselves. So this is also a really good technique for finding all those things that make you you that you might not have thought about had you not asked yourself those questions. So we're going to niche down and explode one of them. When I say explode, I mean, make get deeper. And so the one that I chose was the bubble that was from my personal right here, my me map. And it's the wife, mom, and ex school teacher. So I took one of those things, teacher, and I made another personal mind map, but I niched down even further. Remember, inch wide, mile deep. If you go an inch wide and a mile deep, you will never run out of ideas of what to say. So, who? I taught middle school kids, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Where? In Frisco ISD, Garland ISD, and Carrollton Farmers Branch ISD. Why? Because I love teaching. And what did I teach? I taught English. So by asking myself those questions again, I was able to, explode that moment. So Angelina and I have a treat for you now. For the next maybe like 10, 15 minutes or so, we're going to actually build out 3 mind maps for our business brand so that you can see us do it in real time. So I'm going to hope and pray that my share screen works.
Do you want to show your examples first before we do that? Or do you want to come back to that?
That would be great. Actually, I think that's a great idea. So I'm going to go past those couple. We'll come back to this later. So this one right here is a work bucket. These are all, let me go back, real life examples. These are literally I took my phone and took a picture of my notebook. I've got these bubble charts for days in notebooks all over the place. I love making bubble charts for clients and myself. It just helps. So I've taken some screenshots. I own a venue. That's my personal brand. And I put venue in the middle because that's my work bucket, right? And I went out and went out and went out. And Studio One is one of the spaces inside of it. And that's what I chose to do a post about. So I circled Studio One down there so that you could see where I ended up with my content. Then Studio One, I took Studio One later on and I exploded that one room, okay, in the venue, not the whole thing, just that one room became its own mind map. And I chose to talk about the simplicity of the room and how that's a good thing because the rest of it's not. So, anyways, that's that. I like to collect owls. This was one of my personal niched down. And so one of my collections are vintage owls. And I went all the way out and I asked myself, what are the meanings of the owls? That's my why. My high school mascot was Ollie Owl, Garland Owls. And one of the stories I just kept going out about that. My best friend was the mascot. And there was this very funny story. And I would have never thought to share that particular story from high school on my business page, but it's so good. So I chose to tell the story about that. And again, I would have never gotten there had I not mind mapped. Now, this one's a client's work bucket. She owns Joyful Lighting. She does Christmas lights. And Christmas lights was in the center. And then we went out and we ended up talking about how hardworking they are and their team. So that's where she went with her post. She ended up exploding that, just the principle of hard work, which is, way right field, but it worked. And she had a whole mind map for that as well. So as you can see, I use this. I'm not just teaching it, I'm practicing what I preach. And it is very effective. And like Angelin says, you will never run out of content if you do this, and you will very quickly speed up that relationship building process. So let's show you how we do it. And we're going to just banter and talk together and build these buckets out or build these mind maps. So let me share my screen.
We're going to talk about Next Chapter Social, our social media brand, because again, we both have our own personal brands and things that we do separately, but this together is a business brand. And I think sometimes the business brand confuses people a little bit more. So we thought this would be a great example for you to see exactly how we pull this together and kind of create content for our own business page. Okay.
So I'm going to click on can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So entire screen. Okay, I'm going to click that. I'm going to open this. Can you see it now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. When I write on this, can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So I am ready. So glad that worked. Yay for technology today. Not every day, but today.
Right.
So we're going to talk about, like she said, our business brand, Next Chapter Social. I just put NCS for short in the middle. So this is our work bucket.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So next layer, different things that we would talk about. So what we offer social school. That is something we're doing on a quarterly basis.
Sorry,
this is fun. Okay, this is great. So we're going to offer social school. It's an e-course that we will continue to promote once a quarter. So that's one thing. And then let's see. We will have social club. That's another thing that we offer. That's coming soon. That's going to be more of our membership. Yeah, our coaching, continued education platform. Okay, speaking opportunities. I'm just brainstorming. You can throw anything else you want to, but once you get me started, it's really hard to stop me.
Yeah, no,
So we
I'm
speaking
drawing. You're talking.
okay. We also offer Done For You Social, so our full service agency side, where we work with small business brands who really just want to turn their social media over to qualified people. And I think what we can talk about there too is Done For You Social is what we do different, how we do it different. That's almost like a second layer, right?
Yep. So wait, what I want to say here is we're talking about for next chapter social, we've talked about the what we do, but
Okay.
what we've left out is the who, the why, the how, the where, right? So we
Okay.
provide face-to-face classes
Yes.
and online. Who we
Yes.
help is solopreneurs. We do help business brands as well, but overwhelmed um, entrepreneurs that aren't the greatest at social media marketing or don't have the time to do it, right?
Right.
So entrepreneurs, I'm going to try to put that in a little tiny thing. Overwhelm. So it's who we do it, where we do it, why we do it. So I think part of our why we do it is our background, right? Would that go here on our work bucket? Like
I
our,
do think so. Yeah. It's our company. It's how our company came about. You
okay,
know, what
company.
who we serve and how, what we do. Yep. And how our company came about.
So it's basically our company's story,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay. And then so we have the who, we've got the what, we've got the where, and we've got the why, and we've got the when. So social media course, I'm just going to put this here, and this is quarterly.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That could be talked about, just by itself. So then social school is also for busy entrepreneurs that need something that is built around their own schedule.
Mm-hmm. And they want to learn how to do it themselves.
Uh-huh. And want to learn how to do it themselves. I don't think we need this. Hold on. I need this out of my way because I need more space. Okay. Want to do DIY.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterly, we could talk about that. So it's 4 times a year. And
So with social school, sometimes we're not always open. So we only open about a month before the new class starts. So enrollment. So there's
wait,
seasonality to us talking about. Yeah. Mm-hmm. True.
wait, and seasonality.
And then I think there's all kinds of things that we would talk about inside social school, what it's about, what they're going to learn in social
Yeah,
school, how they're going to feel.
6 classes. And then you
Mm,
could literally talk about the 6 classes. And I mean, we're doing content buckets right now. And then we might be doing reels. And
mm,
then and then you could go on and on and on building out from there just for the what. And I love how she said the what, because here I am talking about the why and the who and the when. And it's just so easy when you're stuck and you don't know where to go to keep asking yourself that what, where, when, why, how. So
yeah.
let's go down here for a second to like social club, the club.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to write and you do the who, what.
Okay. The social, who's it for? It is for those who now have a foundation and they're ready for accountability. They're ready for ongoing learning. They're ready for challenges. So it's like for graduates of social school or those who are more comfortable with social media. But
I
let's
said
see.
SS grads.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Here,
Mm-hmm.
social school grads. And
Mm-hmm.
what it, or why we did it, it's for people to have accountability. It's one thing to learn how to do it, but it's another thing to make yourself do it. So it's really the why is accountability. So then, and one thing I want y'all to notice while we're doing this is we're going so deep doing this so that you can see us what we go through when we're thinking about this for our business. And I want you to think about your business being in the center and asking yourself the who, what, where, why, and building out from there. So accountability. Yes. So the who, the why, the what. So it's
and I think part of it is building relationships, us facilitating relationships within our social club community. So you have that community aspect. That's a why. That's definitely a why. That's a benefit of creating. So that's something that we'll want to talk about building. We're going to do an in-person once a quarter get-togethers. We're going to maybe partner up with other people in the group so that you are working now with your peers on different fun things that will help you grow your business. And sometimes something like this, doing it with somebody who is not in your company or your brand, doing this with somebody else is so nice because you get this really fresh perspective.
Yeah, no kidding. This is fun. And I really wish I had more room. But I'm just trying to write.
Right. But well, this is a perfect starter so people can kind of get an example.
Yeah. So speaking, who we speak for, what we say, where we do it. So for instance, I will travel out of state. I'm going to Oregon. So that's so that is, what would I say there? So where, out of state.
Yes. And I think, again, this is sort of giving you some of that. We haven't even talked about this yet, but social proof. When you have pictures of us doing our speaking, so I'm speaking in a big panel in Dallas here, so different things that we're doing. And our meetups. Go ahead. You got a copy.
Yes, sorry.
So again, and I think that's something we need to go up and add in social school, social club, and even in speaking is testimonials and reviews. So that should be a bubble out of all of those things. Every single one of these things should have, testimonials and reviews, because again, social proof is critical. It's a huge part of your work bubble.
Right.
So if you're not capturing that, you've got to create a system in your business to make sure that you are capturing feedback.
Okay, so networking, DFW social, out of state. Then over here, I've got customer reviews, and you could do Google. You could get your reviews from Google. You could get them from email. So always saving your emails. You could get them from Facebook.
You can reward people, for asking for them and reward them.
Okay. And that would be a post in and of itself. I mean, that's a post idea of all the different ways you can reward people for, hey, my small business runs on reviews and referrals. I would love to know what you thought. And here's the link. And one person that leaves me a review this month is going to get a $50 Amazon gift card.
Exactly.
On
Yes, exactly.
You're going to buy that for me.
Yes, I will.
Okay, so is, done for you content. Let's talk about the, it's called the onboarding session, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. How we make sure that you're completely set up and that everything is working amazing. And then we kind of get, yes. So the onboarding, the process of what that looks like when you are beginning to work with a new client.
Yeah. And the different packages.
Different packages we offer.
And then there's 3 of those, the A, B, and C. So I'll do A, B, and C. And then you can explode those from there. Who it's for. And, the who, what, where, all that. So the who is busy entrepreneurs. That, have the, I would say, busy entrepreneurs that find the value in spending money to make money, because a lot of times, spend money to make money, and really developing a team, because people who are like, you know what, that's something that's not in my wheelhouse. I'm going to give that to you and I'm going to pay you for it. Because my time is better spent X, Y, and Z. So I would
Right.
say that the done for you is more for more seasoned entrepreneurs that understand the value
Yes.
of of I say pimping that out. Can I say that?
You can
Pimping
hear. It's our
what?
class.
Okay, it's our yes. Okay, so yeah, so I think that's who that's for, and it's a slightly different audience than like social school. I'm going back to social school. I'd like to add to that. I feel like people that take social school could end that social school course with like a newfound knowledge of holding people accountable that do done for you for them. So some
Oh,
people come
great
to
point.
us, yeah, and they say, I paid this person to do my social media. I don't know if it's working. I just need to learn how to do it myself. I
Yes,
think
yes.
that's a lot of people that come to social school. So, anyways, do you think we should move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's do. I think we've given a good example of the process
Yes,
and
yes.
how
Okay,
important that is. And the next one's very easy. So the
yes.
people. Well, it's you and me, babe. You know.
You,
um, yes. So
Angela, and Brooklyn.
yes, yes. And I also think there could be a couple other spokes about like us teaching, showing examples. Again, we had a little crossover with the last one. But it does show us, you know, the people behind our brand. It shows us out in the community what we're doing, how we're giving back, anything that we're involved in, and us networking. We both love to network. Different things that we're doing. Maybe us too. We have the DFW social media. There's different things. So the networking and the teaching, I think, are big parts of us as the people behind the brand. And then, of course, there's a ton of content in the you and the me part.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what would be really fun for this one is for you to do mine and for me to do you. So
Okay.
I'm going to do Angeline for fun. This is kind of like a weird dating game, and I don't mean it to be, but whatever. We're going to go with it. So Angeline, who she is, she has been a powerhouse in a whole nother company for a long time, a direct sales company, called Park Lane, and she's 14 years, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
you have your own personal brand. So I'm going to say personal brand, and then I'm going to go off from that and say Park Lane, and then the when I'm going to say 14 years. What you do, you earn every trip. That's for sure. Earn every trip. Angeline's going on a trip tomorrow, guys. Just so y'all know. Okay. So then she's got the people in her life is her daughter, Morgan, who is I'm going to make her big because she's a big deal. And she can talk about Morgan. She goes to Howard. That's her college. She plays golf, which is a huge part of Angeline's schedule because she travels to go see her play golf, which she plays in college. And y'all are besties. Oh,
Truth.
yeah, truth. And then you have let's see. So you have the who you are, your background. Okay, so we're gonna say your background. I'm sorry. When you have to spell in front of people, it can be
I know
nerve-wracking.
it's pressure.
So we would talk about DFW Child Magazine,
Right.
some of the other brands that you've done, and the years that you've done it. So how long? You've got about
Yep.
20 years under your belt,
Right.
and then different brands, and then we'll branch out from there.
Right.
Gwenda Stefani brand, um, Flea Style. What's another one?
Let's see. Bridget. Gosh, there's so many. Rethink all media. Yeah, lots of fun things there. So
Something media. Okay. So
yeah.
you can see that she has a lot. And then also, we could, kind of do her passion. And she is a ghost hunter, which
Mhm.
is very intriguing. And I live in a really old house, so I feel like she needs to come over and do her little thing here.
We're gonna have to do that. Yeah.
Yes. And when I say ghost hunter, she likes to go on overnight trips. And you mean she loves doing that. So that's a big part. And I think that's definitely a person behind our brand. Now, I don't know, why don't you talk to me a little bit about or talk to us a little bit about your thoughts on getting that niche down about you underneath our business brand. Is that okay? Is that too far? Did I go too far? Or how?
I think it's important for us to, like, I don't know that I would necessarily get really far into my daughter or my hobby on on our business brand. But
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's fun to show us, you know, how Brooklyn spent the weekend, how Angelin spent the weekend doing a little reel. I think those are the things that people go. I mean, I'm not going to do uh, a post about some, the paranormal hotel I stayed in Colorado. I'm not really going to go into that on our next chapter social page, but I may show, hey, I went to Colorado for the weekend because I'm always traveling, as Brooklyn will tell you. It's annoying, but I'm always somewhere. So it's fun to say, this is how I spent the weekend. And this is, you know what I mean? So I think there are overviews, highlights.
I don't think it would be totally outside of the norm for this is how Angelin spent the weekend. And then you have like one of those little things that go, or flashes light, and she's in the dark and all you see like is her eyeballs. And then you see me at vintage market days with like armfuls of like
right.
vintage
Exactly. And I think that's the fun part is that, whether I'm on the golf course or in Disney World or ghost hunting or whatever, and I just think those highlights, little snippets of those, especially because you and I are so full of personality. This may not make sense for you if you own a plumbing company and you may not want to get that detailed into it. But I think you just have to figure out what matches you. It totally matches us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this is kind of the whole point. Okay, before we do, here's a good example of, let's say my friend Catherine, who owns a roofing business. Okay. Let's say she has a team of all these. We were talking about this at lunch yesterday. So she has these really amazing people on her team that work for her. And one of her team members, Ramil, he does a lot of work with the military. He's a total give back guy. He does all the different charities and fundraisers and ex-military things that he gives back to. I think we could do a whole thing on Ramil and all the wonderful things that he's doing. So that's something that her team, and then they all love football. So they all pick a football team. And so you could do a post about like our team and, our teams, and who we're all rooting for. Maybe it's a reel of everybody in their jerseys that kind of shows some personality. Or like Leanne Edgar, our friend, who just did a vision board workshop with her team. That's showing the people behind her company where they're doing something very fun together as a team. It's an outing. They're doing something for their own personal development as well as their business. So I think that makes sense, right? And that's kind of how you show the people behind the brand.
Got it. Okay. Well, and what's going on here? I'm sorry. I'm trying to flip it back. It doesn't always work. Showing the people behind the brand. It just, y'all need to do what makes sense for your business and it makes you comfortable. At the same time, I don't want you to read into that, oh, she said whatever makes me comfortable, and being personal doesn't make me comfortable, so I'm never going to do that. You do have to push yourself a bit. You do have to talk about the people, and that includes you. If you own the business, you can't just talk about the people in the business. You got to talk about yourself too.
Yeah. Why did you choose this business? Why did you create this company? What are your values? What is your origin story? Right. That's a good one. That's one that we need to talk about us, is how we met and our origin story, and how like it only took us one lunch before we were totally ready to merge years of experience into one lunch.
One lunch. Yeah. Pretty crazy. It's almost like when you get married after the weekend of meeting and you run to Vegas. Right. My mom's like, who is it, Angeline or Angel? What is it? And
Right.
I'm like, you don't even know her name. And she's like, I know, and you're making a business.
I know.
Anyways, I'm like, it's gonna be fine. So we have a how we met, and then we have, our team building. Anything we do together when we
Yes.
travel. Okay, so
Right.
that's part of the people. So now I'm gonna let you do me real quick, and then we'll move on to the last one.
Okay. Well, we talked a little bit about this and we kind of, shared with like your old house, all the cool things in your house. Your house is like a treasure hunt in and of itself. We love your collections. You are a baseball mom and a swim mom.
Yes. Oh
um,
my
Jaden and Lincoln, her two baseball boys, and Lila, her daughter. Let's see. You love eating.
Yes, who doesn't?
Right.
You don't like to
And
love. If you don't like to eat, I don't trust you.
right, right. You're always talking about food. So that's a big fun thing that is like, Brooklyn snacks. And and your family means everything to you, including your mother. It's not just you're always talking about mom this and mom that. And that is always she's always around. And she's been quite a pioneer in this field too. So I think that's a fun thing is that you come from a legacy of people who have really built strong digital businesses, which I think is so cool. So that's an important part of it.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
great. Wow, you make me sound so special.
Right?
Yeah, that's really good. And when somebody else thinks is describing you, you often, when you said that I come from a person, there's a legacy before me that I've learned from. I've never heard that said. I've never said it that way. And I really liked it. So brainstorming and mind mapping with someone else's is a good idea. You can most certainly do it by yourself, but having someone to bounce those ideas off of is not a bad idea. So now this is probably the most important one. And let me just say that your influence in your area of expertise in your industry is determined by three things: your authority over the subject matter, your visibility, that means how much you are out there talking about whatever you know, and the relationships you have. So hold on, let me write that. So your influence is determined by your authority, visibility, and relationships. You are going to build those three things by providing value through your page.
Yes.
Value helps you build that authority. And when you use your bubble chart, right? When you build this out, you'll have plenty of content to be visible all the time. And the more visible you are with your tips and tricks, the faster you'll build relationships. So I just kind of wanted to say that. And let's erase this so we'll have plenty of room. All right. So value. So the who do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, let's just talk about all the different things that we are expertise in, because this is where you want, as a business brand, you want to talk about what's going to keep people coming back, what's going to keep them interested in following you, what can you provide to them to help their lives be better. So we are social media experts, we are marketing experts, so let's talk about that. So social media tips, that's a big one. Copywriting, you're an English teacher, I'm a writer, we've been doing it our whole lives. Marketing tips, how to hire someone to do your social media for you. We want to give you knowledge that you would need if you wanted to hire someone. Photography, design, branding, graphic design, and maybe even like email marketing. Those are all things that bigger categories that we can give value and tips on. And I would say probably the largest bucket in that is going to be social media tips, because there's about a million things that we can talk about in micro segments off of, if we just wanted to explode that one thing. I mean, we could talk about, goodness, hashtags, um, a reels tip, a hook. That kind of goes under copywriting, but gosh, the latest update, how to do a transition. Should you use an app? You know, all those you in every post that you do, you want to solve one problem. Like you don't want to have one post about photography. You want to have one post about posing the best way in your photos, like how to pose to look skinny. Like let's talk about that one thing, right?
Yes.
Right. So you want to solve one problem, get micro, and then show, like, if you wanted to post about, and we're not photographers, but we do a lot of photographs in our business and we work with our clients on photography. So maybe we want to
And
talk about
also with
about looking skinny.
I put that skinny and double chin. You can't read it, but you know how you lean your, and it's like, you just I hold my breath when we take pictures. But the other thing about poses that, just made me think of, because you're talking about it, is something that we're struggling with our social media, our website right now, is none of our photographs have any blank white space on the left-hand side to put content next to. So
Right.
that's not only a pose, but also spacing. So I was just wanted to clarify when I wrote spacing, even though you can't read it. Okay,
Right.
so audience identification, that's about coming up with your avatar and identifying, their demographics.
Mm-hmm.
Writing is about speaking to your audience.
And I know we're going to get into this, deeper into your avatar. So we won't get into that now. But once you get really clear on that, it's going to overarch all the way that you talk about all of these things. Because you're going to want to be speaking the language that that person really resonates with.
Right. Amen. Questions. Keep them watching.
So I think like you could be, yes, like, okay, I'm thinking social media, Instagram. I think we could do a whole post on the value of using stories and how the stories algorithm is different from post. So maybe you
Right.
do one on stories. That's one neighborhood. How to use highlights. That's one neighborhood. Your feed is one neighborhood and reels is one neighborhood.
Yep.
So you've got all these different things that we could talk about and get more in depth. So anyone can take this same process, the same idea, and whatever they have value on, they can explode that.
Right. So those three, I feel like, I'm sorry, I just turned it off. We're done with that, right?
We're done with that. Sure. I'm sure everybody's like mentally exhausted and ready to start working on their mind maps by now.
Yes, just let me go. So you have your value, you have your work, and you have your people, your team. And the last slides that I just want to show you before we wrap this up is, once you have these mind maps, I have 3 different ways of organizing that content so that you can use it later. You can have notebooks with all your bubble charts in it, but what I like to do is take all those bubbles and write them down on Post-it notes and stick them to the wall over here on my left-hand side. And then when I'm going to sit down and write my content and plan it, that's that 4-letter word that we're going to talk about a lot in social school. I take one of my inch wide, mile deep topics down, because each Post-it note represents one bubble that's at least 3 levels out, 3 levels deep. And then I explode the moment on a post in whether it's a carousel, a reel, a story, whatever. I'm using that as the springboard for the content that I'm about to post. So there's one way. If you're not a Post-it note kind of girl, then, or guy, then please, by all means, keep a notebook and just write a list. Take those bubble charts, organize them into a nice list so that you can kind of focus on a certain work bubble for that upcoming month, because you really want to have a focus that is centered on what's going on with your business and your during that time. I know some businesses are seasonal, so they might, that businesses go through cycles. So whatever you're pulling from your mind maps, just make sure that it's tied to what's going on the calendar during that time frame that you're posting. So I like the notes feature on my phone, iPhone, or an Android, or a notebook. But all you have to do is delete what you have used, or cross out what you've used, or throw away the post-it note of what you have used, and then you're good to go.
Awesome. And I kind of like more of a spreadsheet. I'm a little bit more of a, structured kind of thing. So I do like to kind of plan out my quarter. I mean, I know we're not going to get in this deep, but I like to plan out my quarter and think about what I want for January, February, March. And then I put all my idea buckets in one place, and then I start to kind of schedule them out. So it just helps me, gives me freedom to think about knowing where everything is going to live. And believe me, I'm a spreadsheet queen. So a little bit different in our methodology, post-it notes versus digital spreadsheet. But it doesn't matter. Like, we both get there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I hope you got a lot out of this. We kind of beat that dead horse on the mind mapping, but I think it is essential to you being able to see how we do it, what we're talking about in a real life example, as if we were sitting in the room with you right now, standing over your shoulder, helping you build yours. So keep in touch with us through Next Chapter Social Facebook page, and we'll see you in the next class. Bye.
Bye.